Americans coast to coast feeling the impact of the worsening crisis at our southern border. Places like Chicago, New York, and Massachusetts declaring emergencies over the migrant influx, despite being thousands of miles from the border. Let's bring in our panel. Chicago resident Sam Sanchez, also on the board of National Restaurant Association. Brownsville, Texas resident Deborah Bell, also candidate for Cameron County GOP chair. And Brooklyn resident Ashanti Harding, also an elementary school teacher. You know, I'd love to I'm going to start with you, Ashanti. One of the things that I've noticed, you know, I spent a great amount of my time in New York, although I live in Texas. And in New York, for me, Ashanti, it has been a visible difference over the last several years, the presence of illegal immigrants within the community. Has that been your experience? Do you see a big change just in your life over the last 3 years?
Yes, definitely in my life, because as you said, I am a teacher, and a lot of people were contacting me because a school in my neighborhood in Coney Island, literally there were asylum seekers sleeping in the school. So parents couldn't send their scholars to school, which is depriving students from their education, which is a very big problem.
Yeah, I mean, that backs up what I think all of us who spend time in New York have experienced personally. Let's move on. You know, the Brownsville, Texas always seems to, or Texas, Deborah, always seems to get something first. We actually don't hear about Brownsville as much. We hear about Eagle Pass, we hear about Del Rio, we hear about other sectors. You're right there at the tip. Take a look at the numbers of migrant encounters at the southern border, up from 300,000 in 2017 to 2.4 million in 2023. 300,000 to 2.4 million. What does that mean for your community in Brownsville?
Well, I can tell you, looking back at what happened to us during the months of May and June, we had crossings like we had never seen before. Personal experience, having been over in that area myself numerous times. Yep, right there. I've been right there with the video they're showing. That area in one, I don't even know. It was such a short distance. We took out 10 tons of trash, 10 tons of trash, less than a quarter mile that we cleaned up. So what happens is they cross over and they just drop everything as soon as they get to our side. And I'm talking anything and everything. Yep, there's our picture. It's horrible.
I see the trash.
It took 2 days just to clean that little area up. When you talk in terms of our city, just the other day I was dropping my son off at school, and there was just 5 illegal immigrants walking the fence line of my son's school with their bags of clothes. Just less than a couple days ago, driving in an area which is a neighborhood, they were walking down the streets.
Yeah.
I've had people call me and tell me they're panhandling outside of their businesses. Maybe not so much at this current moment as when we first saw that large influx back in May, June, but
I've seen that in Texas.
They're everywhere.
Deborah, I've seen that. And the truth is, I've seen, you know, what Ashanti is describing as well. I mean, I've seen the kids who should be in school who are now on subway platforms. I mean, they should be in school in their home countries, but they're in this country on subway platforms begging, which isn't a good situation for the community or for the kid. But Sam, the one community that I haven't been to is yours. I hear about it. I hear your mayor. I hear people finally starting to wake up in Chicago, it seems like, which has styled itself as a welcome place for illegal immigrants, all of a sudden saying, oh, maybe this isn't such a good thing for Chicago.
Yeah, no, Chicago is definitely depleting the resources that is long needed for these communities. You know, $40 million a month being spent on migrants. That money is needed for educational programs, family training orientations. I mean, just last week we saw 2 executions where 4 teenagers were murdered because we don't have the resources, but yet we have the resources for undocumented or new migrants that are coming into the city. Definitely this has to stop. The federal government is not helping at all. I mean, the city is in crisis. We're worried about the summer coming up. Most of these migrants are unidentified. We don't know who they are. We've seen in New York, they commit crimes, they're willing to attack police. They shoot, now they travel to California, supposedly. They could do there. So we're delivering the wrong message. They could commit crimes in the United States and not be held accountable.
And you already had a crime problem in Chicago. You already had a crisis, and you're pouring gasoline on a fire there in Chicago.
We do, and sorry to interrupt you. We do have a crime. I mean, we're definitely working on getting things better, but we need to change. We need to win elections to win good legislation, and we haven't done that yet. We're on a process.
Sam, Deborah, Ashanti, thank you guys for getting up and sharing with us your personal experience here on this crisis.
You.
All right.
Thank you for having us.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.